And you know, the fake news, like CNN in particular, they're trying to they're trying to say, well, I agree that it was destroyed, but maybe not that destroyed. You know what they're doing? They're really hurting great pilots that put their lives in the line. CNN is scum, and so is MSDNC. They're all, and frankly, the networks aren't much better. It's all fake news, but they should not have done that. Those pilots hit their targets. Those targets were obliterated, and the pilots should be given credit. They're not after the pilots, they're after me. They want to try and demean.
You don't believe that Iran can rebuild its nuclear program?
No, Iran will never rebuild its nuclear. From there? Absolutely not. That place is under rock. That place is demolished. The B-2 pilots did their job. They did it better than anybody could even imagine. They hit late in the evening.
We've all learned a lot about the art of the deal in the last 24 hours, and apparently the art of the deal is to announce a fake deal, watch that deal fall apart, attack the people who didn't make the deal, and only see the situation get worse, because that is what Donald Trump did with his fake ceasefire between Iran and Israel, which is now blowing up in his face. And because of that, he had a screaming meltdown this morning where he was attacking and threatening reporters and blaming them for his failure. We're going to get into it all. But before we see him attack reporters, I want to see the insane screaming meltdown that he started the day with, swearing and losing his mind.
Yeah, I do. They violated it, but Israel violated it too. Are you questioning if Israel is committed? Israel, as soon as we made the deal, they came out and they dropped a load of bombs, the likes of which I'd never seen before. The biggest load that we've seen. I'm not happy with Israel. You know, when I say, okay, now you have 12 hours, you don't go out in the first hour and just drop everything you have on them. So I'm not happy with them. I'm not happy with Iran either. But I'm really unhappy if Israel's going out this morning because of one rocket that didn't land, that was shot, perhaps by mistake, that didn't land. I'm not happy about that. You know what? We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Do you understand that?
Trump is obviously pretty unwell. He is unraveling at this point. You don't often see him directly swear in public. I think he's kind of lost track of the bounds of how he needs to operate. Of course, it's always been reported that Trump swears a lot behind closed doors. But it's really nice to know that as a conflict escalates in the Middle East, our president is losing his mind now more than ever. He has a pudding brain. The man has a pudding brain, and it is falling apart. He spent all night and morning rage posting about how his ceasefire failed after spending most of the night posting pictures of himself praising his efforts, which have ultimately been unsuccessful, and he knows it. And he has been very publicly embarrassed on the world stage, which is why the yelling continued right here before we get to what he had to say about the reporters who were confronting him.
I don't think so, but I'm not happy that Israel's going out now. There was one rocket that I guess was fired overboard. It was after the time limit, and it missed its target. And now Israel's going out. These guys got to calm down. It's ridiculous. I didn't like plenty of things I saw yesterday. I didn't like the fact that Israel unloaded right after we made the deal. They didn't have to unload. And I didn't like the fact that the retaliation was very strong. But in all fairness, Israel unloaded a lot. And now I hear Israel just went out because they felt it was violated by one rocket that didn't land anywhere. That's not what we want, I'll tell you. And I'm telling you, I'm not happy about that, Israel, either. All I do is play both.
Does he not recognize that this is his fault and maybe he shouldn't have made that post? I also have to point out the fact that Donald Trump has been narrating all of this war on Truth Social. All of the major announcements and pivotal information have come from his own social media site, which, by the way, bought back $400 million of its stock just this weekend. Now, I don't know if those two things are connected, but the grift is kind of always part of this. There's a reason why Donald Trump isn't informing Marco Rubio, J.D. Vance, or Pete Hegseth about anything. Well, he just makes crazy announcements on Truth Social, as he did right here before we see what he had to say about reporters. Trump wrote on Truth Social, "Israel is not going to attack Iran. All planes will turn around and head home while doing a friendly plane wave to Iran. Nobody will be hurt. The ceasefire is in effect. Thank you for your attention to this matter." Yeah? Well, that didn't happen, and it's not going to happen. And the reason Donald Trump says that, it's not happening, you guessed it. MSNBC and CNN. Yeah, just take a look.
Two pilots did an unbelievable job. And, you know, the fake news, like CNN in particular, they're trying to say, well, I agree that it was destroyed, but maybe not that destroyed. You know what they're doing? They're really hurting great pilots that put their lives in the line. CNN is scum, and so is MSDNC. They're all. And frankly, the networks aren't much better. It's all fake news, but they should not have done that. Those pilots hit their targets. Those targets were obliterated, and the pilots should be given credit.
So Trump is now blaming MSNBC and CNN for not praising him enough for a military operation that wasn't successfully carried out as the reason there's not a peace deal between Iran and Israel. It doesn't even begin to get close to making any sense at all. He is just completely melting down and losing his mind. And I'm sure some of Rachel Maddow's show last night contributed to how angry Donald Trump was with Mrs. NBC. And I want to take a look at the very important info she was sharing right here.
Members of the United States military were targeted by Iran today with a retaliatory Iranian missile strike at the major U.S. military base in Qatar. Nobody appears to have been hurt in that attack. But members of the U.S. military know that this president has their interests in mind in some ways, and those of their families. How does he have them in mind? Well, this is the father of 3 U.S. Marines, 2 of whom are on active duty at Camp Pendleton, 1 of whom is recently retired. This father of 3 U.S. Marines was beaten by masked federal agents this weekend when they turned up to arrest him at his job site. He was beaten. He was pepper sprayed, according to one of his U.S. Marine sons. They also dislocated his shoulder. His son told the LA Times that his father is 5'6" or 5'7" and weighs about 150 pounds. This was the use of force they chose against this man. Again, this man with the 3 sons in the United States Marine Corps. His oldest son said that when his father called him from the immigration facility they first sent him, his father didn't want to talk about his injuries. He instead wanted to talk about the job that he had left incomplete. He asked his son to please go back to that job site where he had been arrested. He asked his son to please finish the job that he had been working on, trimming the grass, when he was attacked by Trump's immigration agents. This is another young U.S. Marine Corps veteran in Louisiana, whose wife was just arrested by Trump's immigration agents. This is a young married couple. They have a 9-week-old daughter. This Marine Corps veteran dad has been bringing their baby daughter to the immigration prison where Trump's agents are holding his wife and their baby's mother so he can try to figure out how the baby daughter can still breastfeed from the mom while Trump has her locked up. These are 2 young National Guardsmen in Illinois who went to the immigration office in full uniform with their mom to try to stop Trump's immigration agents from arresting their mother. This is an active duty U.S. Army sergeant who has now flown to Honduras to try to reconnect with his wife, who Trump's agents arrested while her husband is serving on active duty as a sergeant in the United States Army. The pushback against what Trump is doing to immigrants and to American families that include immigrants, it continues and continues and continues to build. This was Albuquerque, New Mexico this weekend, a really big march in downtown Albuquerque to support immigrants and to oppose what Trump is doing. This was Lawrenceville, Georgia this weekend, another large-scale march to support immigrants and to oppose what Trump is doing. This was Port Washington, Long Island in New York this weekend, where friends and neighbors rallied to demand the release of their local bagel shop manager, Fernando, who has lived in their town for decades and is a beloved part of it. This was Pasadena, California this weekend. A big protest, but one with a live band led by clergy. The local Fox affiliate covering the protest said it was a big protest, but it felt at times like a block party as it just kept getting bigger and bigger.
Mood was upbeat, but their message was serious.
I've been to 5 this week. I think the message is being heard loud and clear.
You heard the music almost before you saw the crowd marching its way down Pasadena Street. Months ago, Pasadena attacked by fire. Now they say the threat is ICE, as in ICE raids on immigrant communities.
People are scared. They're in their homes, afraid to come out, afraid to go grocery shopping, afraid to pick up their kids from school. So why not be here and support them?
Joy is a part of our people's, even when we protest. We've got a joy that no one knows where it comes from, but it comes from the resilience of our people who built this country, brown and black people, and it's time for us to stand together.
The diverse crowd was organized by the National Day Laborer Organizing Network. And according to Pasadena police, who lined the route, it was peaceful.
This administration is incompetent. They are throwing us into chaos, and they seemingly don't care. This is a politics of petty grievance for Donald Trump. Really, all this war that he has launched is a self-masturbatory act in which he can praise himself on Truth Social for pretending to and failing to solve a problem. He started. This is no tremendous win from Trump, even if it does shake out with short-term peace. Donald Trump has only created conflict here, and it seems like it's getting worse. We're going to be covering it on this show, and if you stuck around to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments, and until next time, I'll see you soon.